listening to a proud member of the FightFans Radio Network. You're listening to a proud member of the Fight...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Untethered MMA podcast on FightFans Radio. It's August 16th, 2012. Right off the top, if you want to reach the show, you can call in at 410-988-6525. And you can reach all the hosts on Twitter. You can reach me at It's Mike Fagan. You can reach Derek Sabatiki at FightLinkerSubo. And you can tweet at the missing Matt Roth at MattRoth512. Matt, basically, it's if you haven't picked up on this, if there's a fight going on that Matt is covering live at the event, he probably will not be on air because usually there's some sort of press conference on Thursdays that he has to deal with and do a bunch of writing for Bleacher Report. You know, all those slideshows don't get put together by themselves. But I do have my buddy Derek. Derek, how are you doing today?
I do believe they're working on an algorithm that will actually put the slideshows together by themselves. But yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm actually, right after the show, I'm actually headed out to Midway Airport and flying to Kansas City for the weekend. Before the show started, I picked up my luggage out of my closet, and it's the first time I've used it. I got it at Christmas, and I realized there's these two little bars inside the luggage that you have to stick into the corners to make it into a box shape. And I was doing this about 15 minutes before the show was supposed to get on air, and I don't know if anyone else has had to do this, but those rods don't bend very easy, and there's not much wiggle room there. So got pretty close up to call in time, and I was struggling, and then I was just like, fuck it. And I'm sure you've done this, Derek, where you're working on something, and you don't want to break it, but you know you have to kind of force it, so you're just like, fuck it, and you just see how much bend it can give, and then eventually you get it in there. Derek?
Goddamn mute button. No, I'm still here. I was saying that, you get to that point where either this is going to work or I'm just going to break this piece of shit. You shouldn't have to fucking... It's not a tent. It's luggage. So I don't really understand how that would piss me off.
Well, I have a cat carrier that has the same sort of principle where it breaks down, but it has these bars that you can stick together to fit in. But the bars like attached to the corners, and then you just have to like slide them in together at the middle. Much easier. I don't know why they didn't do it with this luggage, but maybe it's just the cheap ass luggage my family got me for Christmas. But
that's a nice thing to say. I hope your father's listening.
He didn't give it to me, so it's all right.
All right, word.
Let's get right into the MMA. Derek, you I wasn't sure you were talking last week about maybe trying to get into UFC 150. You weren't positive, but I believe that you ended up making it into the arena.
No, I got my paycheck, first one, decent one from the job on Friday, and they fucked it up. So I've got some more coming on the next paycheck, but I decided to go up there with what I had and see if I could snag a ticket, and if not, then I'd just go to a bar up somewhere around there and watch it. So I'm walking up on my phone with a friend of mine telling him how I need a ticket, and a scalper just finds me. I talked to him a little bit. He's one of the guys from the Fight Club that picks up everything as soon as they show up and then disperses them. And he had a $200 ticket. It had no face value on it, but it was at least a $200 ticket. Second row right next to where they come in. And it's fucking, I was second row. There were 5 people sitting down between me and the octagon, including the floor.
Yeah, so all works out for Derek. I've been teasing a little story, well, not really a story, but something I just made up. But we'll get to that in a second since it was in the co-main. I really only want to go over the top 2 fights on the card since that was really the only draw.
The prelims were awesome, man. Holloway fucking was that was a fun fight to watch live.
Yeah, but let's get right into the big story coming out of the event. How did you score the main event between Benson Henderson and Frankie Edgar live in the arena?
I myself had it 48-47 Edgar, and there seems to be such a wide. There will be people that have the same score for the fight overall, but scored like maybe 2 rounds the same as their as the person who has the exact same score as them for the entire fight. I myself gave Henderson the 5th round, and I believe I gave him the 3rd round, but I gave Edgar the other 3.
You didn't give Henderson the first round, because that was the kind of unanimous round that it was Henderson 1, Frankie 2, and the final 3 were sort of toss-ups.
Right, and after the first, I thought it could have been a 10-10, but I thought that Frankie landed a little bit more. I don't think he got a takedown, but neither one of them shot. And I don't give that failed submission attempt at the end, squeezing the hell out of a guillotine that meant nothing.
Yeah, I had the first round for Henderson. I scored the other 4 for Edgar. I think it's the 3rd round that I thought was the closest one that I could understand if people went 48-47. The interesting thing, though, I don't know if you went back to check on Twitter after the event, but yes, Derek, we are Skype. Thanks for chatting in the box there. I don't know if you went back to check on Twitter after the event, but it was pretty unanimous. I don't think I saw one Henderson scorecard on Twitter.
It's very rare. I believe Mauro Ranallo, in one of his better moments, watched the fight live, scored it for Edgar, and then rewatched it and scored it for Henderson. And I haven't heard anybody doing that. Between the showboating and the 4th, and I can't tell you how much I love somebody doing the Anderson Silva hand shit and then eating a punch in the face because they're not good enough to do it. Like, you can't win a round if you do that. I don't care if it's a 10-8 otherwise. If you do that and get punched in the mouth, then it's a 10-9 for the other guy.
Yeah, I agree. And one interesting thing after the event, at the post-fight press conference, obviously the media there were asking Dana White what he thought of the decision, and usually Dana's pretty decisive about how he thought a fight went and how he scored a fight, especially in close stuff. I mean, the one I'm remembering right now, of course, is the Machida Rampage fight where he scored it for Rampage 2 rounds to 1. The interesting thing about it, though, was that he came up with the excuse that I'm not a judge and I don't, I didn't score the fight. Although he went back and said that he had 48 or 38-38 going into the final round. So it seemed like he was taking the approach of, I don't want any controversy coming out of this fight, and I'm going to try to spin this as judges made a decision, and that's it.
Well, I think part of it is their ongoing desire to see Frankie leave that weight class, and they're probably going to finally get some traction there now that it's going to be tough for him to get another rematch, a 3-peat with someone he's 0-2 against, even though it's kind of bullshit that he has that record. And I think that it's a combination of that and the fact that it's in Colorado, which is an athletic commission that traditionally has done a really good job, and the UFC and Zuffa have never really had a problem with. So it's not just that traditional Nevada needs to get off their asses. They need to do better with training judges, getting better judges. Now it's branching out, and I think that as you see more title fights in different jurisdictions, you'll see that be a little bit safer. And now we apparently have Mr. Fagan calling back in because he has Skype issues, whereas I'm normally the guy that does that. How do I sound, Eric? I don't have any echo or anything, do I? I'm excited to see what Edgar does next. I think he won that fight. I don't think it's incumbent upon him to drop down to 145. If he wants to stay at lightweight for a little bit and work his way back up, then I see no issues with that. There are a lot of compelling fights there. He could easily fight the loser of Cerrone Pettis or the loser of Henderson Diaz, and those would be competitive fights. A lot of people wanted to see him fight Diaz anyway, because they think that his pressure and his style will kind of negate Edgar's boxing advantage to a large degree. But I don't see any reason to dump on Frankie Edgar. The article by Kid Nate on Bloody Elbow was something that Mike wanted to bring up. He mentioned it in our rundown. And, controversy for the sake of controversy aside, why would you root against somebody who puts on exciting fights? If you don't like Frankie Edgar fights, then I'm not sure exactly what sport it is you're watching. If you just want bar brawls and knockdowns and fucking, you want to think the card of the year is Invicta or a bunch of mixed match fights on Bellator or Strikeforce, then go right ahead. But competitive fights between the best in the world, there's always going to be some controversy when it comes to decisions, and there's always going to be a little bit of room for improvement, even for the best fighters in the world. But that doesn't mean they need to leave the weight class.
All right, I'm back. I maybe I still have Skype issues. I don't know. We recently gave our network password to our landlord, and we're worried that he's going to be just watching Netflix all day. And I'm wondering if he's fucking my bandwidth up.
Why did you give him your network password?
Because he's really awkward, and
that's okay then. That makes sense.
Well, it's like he asked, like, would you mind if I borrowed your internet? And what do you? I mean, he lives right above me, so what do I say? No.
Do you mind if I borrow your apartment? How about that? I borrow your fucking land, asshole.
This is frustrating because I'm plugged into the router too. This is stupid. How do I sound to you, Derek?
You sound better. I still have a little bit of an echo, but producer says I sound good. I went on a little mini monologue there, but I said so many words in like 30 seconds. I think it proves why I can't do this show by myself. I need breaks.
Well, you needed to pull the one-man radio talk show thing where you just sort of talk like this.
Yeah, you have to talk
and
really
repeat yourself.
slowly.
You repeat the same things over and over again. Anyway,
I would be a really awesome Republican if I just chose to sell out and do it for the money. I'd be really, really good at it.
So, what were you? What was your little soliloquy about before I came back on?
I was talking about Edgar's future at the weight class, and it may be difficult for him. I thought that was part of Dana's motivation for not weighing in on the scoring controversy. And I said another part of it was they're in Colorado, which is an athletic commission they've traditionally had a really healthy relationship with. And as you see more controversial decisions that are outside of like Nevada and California, I think you'll see less and less bitching directly at the athletic commissions. I think he's going to save that for them mostly.
So do you think he stays at the weight? Do you think he goes down? Because I personally feel like unless they give him an immediate title shot, there's no way he goes down. And even if they do give him that title shot, he might be stubborn enough to stay at lightweight.
It's that stubbornness and that pride. Like, he was just crushed after the fight, and I think that he would take using that fight as his impetus and his launching off point for a new weight class. That would be like admitting defeat at 155, and I don't think he's that kind of guy. It may end up costing him some money, but I think he stays at the weight class at least for the next fight or two to see if he can work his way back up. Because with this little tournament you got going on right now, Cerrone, Pettis, Henderson, and Diaz, we have no idea who's going to be at the top of it come the end of it. And if Edgar can win one or two fights between then and now, he's right there.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, also considering the fact that he, most people seem to think that he won the fight on Saturday against Henderson, and
it was very loud booing in the arena. I don't know what the UFC sound guys did. I watched the pay-per-view afterwards, but they did some fancy sound engineering when they announced "and still" because it was a loud boo.
Did you read our good buddy Nate Wilcox's little op-ed after the event?
I mentioned that in passing because it's trolling for the sake of trolling. You might as well just have that stupid smile on his face, like, problem officer while he's fucking typing this up. It's very transparent. But if you genuinely don't like watching Frankie Edgar fights, then, I lose a little bit of respect for you as a mixed martial arts fan because clearly you're there to see mismatches and knockouts and crazy shit. And when you get the best in the world against each other and they're interested in winning, you're going to get less crazy stuff, but you're going to get a technical exhibition like you did on Saturday. And I love that fight.
And it was all weird, too. Going through the comments, there seemed to be a lot of people that agreed with him. And I don't know how much of that is kind of backlash for, the Penn fight and, what people perceive, what Nate said was point fighting. But the thing that I don't know if it was what his coaches said after the fight, but, when you realize that Frankie is probably fighting guys a weight or two weight classes above him in terms of what he could cut down to, it's pretty impressive what he's able to do.
Well, and he uses that to his advantage with his footwork and his speed, and he clearly has enough power. I mean, he knocked out Gray Maynard, never been fucking really dropped in his career that I've ever seen. So I don't think that he's too small for the weight class, but it does make a difference. It's just tough when somebody uses a game plan like Henderson did, because essentially what he did was stand back and try to throw those big leg kicks, defend the takedown, go for submissions, But ultimately, if he didn't want to engage, it was incumbent upon Edgar to come forward. And as the smaller man, it's harder to do that without getting popped a couple of times.
Speaking of those leg kicks, were you surprised that Henderson seemed to give up on those after the first round? Because it looked like he was having a lot of success early, and then as the fight went on, it dwindled. It's to the point where he wasn't even really throwing those leg kicks anymore.
I was surprised by that. I was also surprised by Edgar's reluctance to do it, because it would seem like a minute left in the round, he'd be trying to score points, and you'd throw these combos where he'd land 1 or 2 leg kicks and a couple of punches, and you're wondering, well, why the hell weren't you doing that at the beginning of the round?
Yeah. So let's get into your boy. I imagine that you not only had a heart attack, but had an explosion of your pineal gland shortly thereafter in the co-main event.
It pretty much went back into my body after Guillard landed that punch. So I don't know if I went right from having an innie to an orgasm. It probably went from innie to outie. I mean, it was hanging pretty low after the fight, but scary moment. What did I say on the radio show last week? If Cerrone goes out there and tries to box with him and gets too aggressive, then bad things might happen. But then again, we've never seen Cerrone finish. We've never knocked out TKO'd. He did get submitted by Henderson. We've never seen him really get knocked down or wobbled by a shot, and we saw how he recovered. He did really well. He kept his distance without, putting his chin out there. Guillard was trying like hell to finish, landed that bomb knee to the jump knee to the gut that has finished people before, and Cerrone took it without bending in half like a lawn chair. And then that switch leg kick. I mean, Cerrone was pretty much, Guillard was pretty much staring at his other leg, and he just kind of short steps with it and then throws the front leg as the high kick. And he had no idea it was coming. It was fucking beautiful.
Yeah, the Cerrone's ability to recover in that fight was really, really awesome. Like I don't know how it looked in the arena from where you were, but on TV, I mean, it looked like it was only a matter of time before Guillard landed another shot or two.
Yeah, he got sat on his ass, and he did. I mean, Guillard landed some shots after that. He landed a good right about 3 seconds before the head kick. Cerrone has a chin. That one caught him off guard. But that's really promising. I mean, you look at the Nate Diaz fight, he eats, 200 significant strikes? He never even gets knocked down. Yeah.
And to the finish, I showed it to a friend the day after, the Monday after, who wasn't around to watch the fight. And it's interesting because the first camera angle they show, it's I think it's on the opposite side of the kick. And Cerrone lands it, but it doesn't look like he hits anything. It looks like he just kind of skims over the top, and you're kind of curious why Guillard is stunned. And then you look at the other angle, and you see that it looks like his knee just lands right on the temple, and Guillard just looks like he has no sense of what his equilibrium is. And I really love Cerrone coming in and just planning it with that right hand and putting it on the mat. That I said on Twitter right afterwards, it's one of my early contenders for knockout of the year.
And I love the follow-up to it and he noted it in the post-fight interview, when he falls on top of him after landing that right, he's not even picking up a hand to punch. He's going right for the choke. So he maintained that mindset as he was going in, like, okay, Guillard is on the ground. What do I do here? I go for submissions.
So were you able to talk to Donald after the fight, or were you kept away?
Well, I had to get my own goddamn ticket, so that should tell you the answer to it. When they went to the fucking First Bank Center in Broomfield, they had a big booth, a lot of people. This was pretty much just family. I talked to his sister before and after the fight. She said she wished she could have gotten me in, but it was a good time. I'm sure that he probably, had himself an after party. I did with Erica and everything, so I had my plans for after the event anyway. And she had a very nice young man from Fight Metric there as well, whose name escapes me, but it begins with either a V or a U, and he was a cool guy.
Moving on.
It begins with an X. X-A-V. Xav. Probably short for Xavier. Whatever. Cool guy.
Looked like Erica was... Yep. Yeah, there you confirmed. Like I said, I'll be in Kansas City this weekend, so I probably won't be able to see the Strikeforce card.
What are you doing in Kansas City?
I actually... one of my work friends is from Kansas City, and the White Sox are in town. So 4 of us decided to... make the trip down there, catch a couple games. The Negro League Hall of Fame's down there, so we're going to go swing by that as well.
Nothing like taking a road trip to see Royals homestand.
We're actually flying. and the best part is next week we're taking a road trip to Cincinnati. So,
the Reds are good, though. I mean, the Reds are a decent baseball team. They might be the best in the National League.
Yeah, well, the White Sox are also a decent team, and so fuck off.
Decent is the way to describe the White Sox. That is correct.
Yes, first place. How the Rockies doing?
Oh, we suck. We're not a decent team.
So what's your interest level for the Rousey Kaufman main event on Saturday?
It's just about the main event. It really doesn't extend to the rest of the card. I think that Doyle Brunson's kid is fighting, so that's cool.
Old Derek.
Good. Yeah, Derek Brunson. They got to be related, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
It's got to be his granddad, though. The guy's like 80 fucking years old. But yeah, I really don't. I mean, it's Jacare that's fighting him, so that's easy submission of the night if they decide to start doing bonuses for Strikeforce. Like, what's his name? Was it Larkin that was asking for that last time?
Lorenz Larkin.
Yeah, that is who it was, and they should. I mean, yeah, fuck, if you're going to be in Zuffa, you should get the benefits of it.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you in the main event?
I'm interested in it to see what happens. If you
Give
know,
Kaufman, the 10.
Oh shit, like a 6.
Okay.
More than average, because like if Kaufman wins, it's an instant rematch. If Rousey wins, then it's probably Cyborg. So there's not a lot of mystery as to what happens next. But maybe Rousey gets punched in the face.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's kind of interesting to me about this fight. And John Stone has been talking about it recently on Twitter, and I think he wrote an article about it. And it's something that I noticed in the Misha Tate fight. I didn't think Rousey reacted well to a punch in the face as you might want an elite fighter to. And it might be reading into something that wasn't really there. That's the one thing that's interesting to me in this fight is Kaufman lands a big shot to the face, and if Rousey turns Lesnar.
Oh, Mikey's going to go kill his landlord. He gave his wireless password to his landlord. What a wonderful fucking idea that was. Maybe we'll get him to call in on a phone. The Rousey fight, it is what it is. I think that there's a little bit of a myth about her drawing power that's kind of Nick Diaz-esque. Just because you're drawing Showtime and the Strikeforce numbers jump and you do good gate numbers relative to their normal numbers when you're there, that doesn't translate to being a pay-per-view draw. It doesn't translate to being a free TV draw. It doesn't translate into monetizing another fighter who needs a draw. Like George St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz, George St. Pierre's the one that's selling those pay-per-views. When you look at Diaz versus Penn and Diaz versus Condit, very, very lukewarm pay-per-view numbers, and BJ Penn was the most known fighter going into that one. So Diaz versus Condit does less than 400,000, and yet Nick Diaz has this mythical reputation as a draw that I really don't think he's earned. So the Strikeforce numbers will also be interesting this week, because we'll see exactly what kind of pop Ronda does when there is pretty much no card underneath her. I mean, other than Jacare, nobody's really tuning in to see anybody. I think maybe Tarek Safadine is on it as well. He's good. I don't have the card here in front of me. But we've got Fagan trying in on another computer here, and I just feel naked and alone because I'm sitting here alone talking to you guys.
I'll step in.
Hey, we got Erica here. Erica, tell everyone how nice I was and how fucked up you got this weekend.
Oh, my God. That was not what I was expecting. I had to catch a shuttle at 6:15 in the morning, and Subo got me so effed up. The most of the night is kind of this, not a blur, but a haze, if that's any indication of what we were doing. It was awesome hanging out with you, though, man. I really enjoyed chilling with you and getting fucked up with you and drinking with you. So hopefully next time we can hang out a little bit more, because our time was so short. It's such a quick turnaround for
and downtown Denver was a madhouse. We took a longer walk than we needed to find a bar. There were probably some closer, but we just kind of wandered.
Yeah. I really like Denver, and I know I said that to you when I was there. Denver is a really nice place. I did not expect that. Matter of fact, I didn't expect that many black people. So I was very happy with the diversity of peoples there.
Indeed, Denver's a big city. If you come to Colorado Springs, it's probably 93% white or Latino. So it'd be a little bit different for you. We're 600,000 people, so you'd think we have more diversity, but we don't. Yeah. Denver's a great city. Like you said, you were surprised that we brew more beer in Denver than anywhere in the country, including Milwaukee. We're the beer capital.
Wowza.
Yep.
That's some crazy stuff right there.
It's a good town to drink in. You've got the light rail that can take you around. You saw the 6th Street Mall. That shit's cool. You just need to come out here and get up on a goddamn mountain, because that's really the selling point coming out here.
You keep telling me that's the selling point, is getting on a goddamn mountain. But all I can remember was when I lived in Arizona, even though the mountains in Arizona I don't think are anywhere near compared to what Colorado has, I do remember there was a pretty popular mountain for college kids to kind of hike up. And this girl, I won't call her a bad name because she's kind of fucked up now, but she fell off that mountain and looked like a bear ate her and shat her out. So I was like, you know what? Maybe Erica should not climb on top of mountains. Maybe that's a bad idea.
But fucking Arizona, maybe you're at 6,000 feet. You were at a mile above sea level just walking around Denver. That ain't a mountain. Real mountains aren't that steep. It's a long way up.
Real mountains aren't that steep.
It takes you got to walk 10 miles across in order to get a mile up.
I hear you. Yeah, you make sense.
We're going to get you. It's just, I love it out here, and you bringing your Fight Magic friend along was fun. He had an earlier flight than you did, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't even bother to go to bed. He had to catch the shuttle at 4:15.
Probably a wise decision on his part.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I tried to be cute and go back to my room and pack, and at some point just had to lay down because I couldn't stand up anymore. So packing really didn't happen until the morning. I can't imagine trying to catch an hour nap and get up and pack and get ready to go for the shuttle. So, but it was a good time. We talked about the main event afterwards when you and I were walking along looking for a place to drink, and I know a lot of people scored it for Frankie, and my argument is when you're the challenger, despite the fact that you might have been a past champion, you have to come in and take the belt. And I don't think, even though Henderson he wasn't nearly as aggressive as he usually is, I don't think Frankie was either. It didn't look like either one of them really wanted to put it all out there. And I think the onus is on the challenger to really pour it on and show that you deserve the title. And I don't think Frankie did that. All right, I'm going to go because Mike's back. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Oh, Jesus.
At least he's not Skyping. All right, talk to you guys later.
All right.
Derek, keep talking for a second.
Dude, listen to you.
Yeah, keep talking, B.
Why do I got to keep talking? I've been talking for like 5 minutes, talking about how I got Erica fucked up, and I was talking about how it's going to be interesting to see the Strikeforce Showtime numbers, and there goes Mike. That was quick. So can I get a phone number, Erica, so that maybe we can get somebody to call in to talk to me, so I'm not just sitting here smoking this bowl all alone? Let's see if we can get Ian Kidd to call in. Ian, you're fucking tweeting about it. You're listening. Let's get you on here and hear that Irish brogue. 410-988-6525. Call in. Fagan just called in too, so clearly it works. And I don't want to talk to him anymore, so please, please, please call me. Mike? Oh, sweet Jesus. I got his picture here and everything. It says mobile. Nah, and he's gone. 410-988-6525. We can talk about Strikeforce. God damn it, Ian. 410-988-6525. I'll have Erica put you right through. We can talk about Strikeforce. We can talk about all the wrong shit I said. All right. It says unknown phone number, but I got no audio. Somebody, anybody, scream.
That might have been, I don't know if that was Mike trying to call in on a different phone. That is just weird. We're getting a bunch of weird bullshit over here. I had problems
launch at FightFansRadio.com today, everybody. Today's the launch.
Good promo there, Derek. Good promo. So Strikeforce this weekend. Let's talk about Strikeforce. Ronda Rousey is getting on my nerves. Can I get an amen on that?
Oh, for Christ's sake, yeah. And I think Nisha was talking about that on Ariel's show on Monday about, if you want to talk shit about fighters, that's fine. But, like Michael Phelps and Kim Kardashian, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares.
Yeah, All right.
This is amateur hour.
Mike's back. He sounds like.
Are you sure that's not just a sea monster?
Mike.
410-988-6525, everybody. Come rescue us. Rescue me.
It's weird because I still hear Skypey shit.
I hear a little bit of echo in mine, too, but according to Erica, we're all good there, and I'm just plowing through it on my end.
Well, that's why you're the professional here, Derek.
Dude, that's what I'm here for. So, anyway, before we get someone calling in, I think Ian's going to call in here in a minute at, once again, 410-988-6525. I was talking about how I think Rousey has kind of a Diaz-esque mythical stance and a mythical position as a draw. And I really need to see the Strikeforce Showtime numbers when there's just a dog shit card underneath her. Because Diaz drew like hell on Strikeforce and Showtime, but then he comes over and fights BJ Penn and Carlos Condit and averages like 350,000 buys a pop. So he has a stance and a fucking position at the draw that I don't think he's earned, and I think Ronda kind of has the same thing going on.
Well, I think Ronda's going to have the problem where after this fight, who do you want to see her fight?
Cyborg. Cyborg's already talking about 135. She said she really wants to fight Honda, so...
Well, she said she couldn't make 135. She said her doctor said that would be very dangerous for her.
Did she say that on Ariel's show on Monday? Because it definitely seemed like there was some wiggle room there. And she spoke very good English, so she seemed to have a command of what she was saying. She emphasized that she wanted the Ronda fight, maybe 140. I don't know. But that's the only thing that makes sense. They can't do Ronda take 2. Like, it's not going to work.
But let's say they do the Cyborg fight. It's just going to be like the Cerrone situation, where after Cyborg, who does she fight?
Well, that was different because, like I said, I maintain this fantasy of Cyborg making it down to 135. If you look at kind of the photo shoots and the things she's done lately, she's looking a lot more feminine. There may have been a change in her dietary and training regimen from before she got fucking popped for roids. So that might make it easier to make 135. She said she walks around at 160. So 135, that's a 25-pound cut for a woman, and that's a lot harder than for a man. But I maintain hope there because if she stays at 145, then there's less people for her to fight than there are for Ronda.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't. I just think Ronda's in the situation where I don't think she's a draw by herself. I think women's MMA need a story just as much as anyone else, but I don't think personally, I don't think she's going to be able to draw by herself.
Now, we're going to see that this weekend with the numbers. We have to remember that this is a largely Zuffa-promoted fight. You had Dana wearing the T-shirt at the weigh-in, showing it in the ESPN magazine at Naked. So that's all going to help. But I don't think we're going to see some huge million-plus person viewership or a big fat gate coming from this fight.
Well, what's the Showtime record? It's about 500,000?
It's got to be. No, I think the Fedor fights did over 1 million, didn't they?
Views? I don't know.
I'm almost sure that over 1 million people saw the Fedor fights, like all 3 of them. Other than that, I want to say Diaz Daly probably their top one.
Yeah, maybe. That's
started like fucking Tank Abbott versus a panda bear from like '97. It's probably something stupid.
Let's see. I can pull up the junkie. It looks like the highest viewed Strikeforce show as of May of this year was the Fedor Bigfoot show. It did 740,000 viewers.
Oh shit! I'm giving them way too much credit. Yeah, so I don't think this fight might do half of that.
Yeah, let's see. Tate Rousey did 430,000, and
so if Tate Rousey did 430,000, they're ceiling 740. I'd say anything above 500,000 is impressive, But Fedor is another example of the fucking mythical draw that everybody wants to see, and he'd do, the UFC's stupid for not signing him. But when he does a pay-per-view by himself, it sells 100,000, and when he's on Showtime, he gets $750,000.
Yeah, and Cerrone and Cyborg did 570,000. So
that was a beating.
So yeah, I think we'll see something like, I don't know,
$500,000
around the Tate number, if not less.
You don't think it'll be more than Tate?
I mean, here's the thing. I think Ronda's obviously got a bigger presence right now, but I don't think the rivalry or the hype of the fight itself is at the same level that Tate Rousey was.
Right, but I don't think anybody gave a shit about the rivalry going into it other than MMA fans. What got that number was Ronda Rousey's name, and I think her name is better now than it was then.
But I mean, also what I'm saying is unless I've been missing something, I haven't really seen anything for Rousey and Kaufman in terms of commercials on TV and stuff. I remember the Tate Rousey fight, there was a semi-big push with the TV advertising. And I just don't think we're seeing with this fight. And maybe Zuffa thinks that they don't need to push it as much.
They've pushed it some. He was wearing the T-shirt at the weigh-ins. She did the ESPN thing. He's been talking up Rousey as, if you ever see a woman in the octagon in the next 10 years that fucking knows what she's doing, hi Kim Winslow, then it'll be Ronda Rousey. So they're getting behind her, and I don't know if they're just preparing to move her over to the mothership and they don't want her to get too huge between then and now so that Showtime starts bitching about keeping her. But, it's kind of a fluid situation in that regard, but I think that this fight does better than the last fight because I credit the last fight doing that well to Rousey, despite I don't think it translates into selling 500,000 pay-per-view next time out. It's like the Diaz thing. Just because you get watched on Showtime doesn't mean people are going to pay $49.95 to watch you.
I believe we have a caller on the line.
Oh,
we
shit.
should have a caller on the line, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Ian the Kid. If your middle name isn't the, then you should make it the.
I should. Fucking Deadpool, man.
So what do you want to talk about, man? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking you guys are crazy with Ronda Rousey, man. There's 3 people who fight. When they fight, I can get all my friends over, no problem. One's John Jones, one's Anderson Silva, and one's Ronda Rousey. Literally the only 3 names that everyone will go, fuck yeah, I want to see that fight.
Okay, so you're saying the casuals respond to it when you tell them, but, I mean, her numbers on Showtime, they weren't Fedor numbers. They weren't even half of Fedor numbers. So it may not be people tuning in. They might just say, oh, I saw that girl naked on the cover of the magazine. Let's go watch her beat someone's ass.
Could be, but, I mean, she's had, 5 fights now? You can't build up a fan base of 1 million people in 5 fights. Give her a few more. See where she's
you sure shit can't do it with Strikeforce either. What she's done with that venue and that platform, especially before the Zuffa purchase, is really impressive. I just don't know, how well it translates. People are like, oh, bring her over now. Women's MMA. They can pay for himself right now. I don't know if they're there yet based on her popularity.
No, they've got 4 names they can draw on women's MMA, if that. And Gina doesn't even fight anymore, so that's 3 names, actually.
Yeah, ever since Carano left, and Rousey definitely has the torch. Cyborg fucking dropped it along with her syringe.
Exactly.
Yeah, very sadly. I hope she can make 135. Her versus Rousey would be a really compelling fight. Crash test before it would be absolutely amazing. Fun stare down. They could sell that fight.
I'd love to see that fight. That would sell.
Mike, are you still with us? You want to jump in here, buddy?
I'm trying to tell Erica I can barely understand you, and I cannot understand Ian. Between his accent and the Skyping issue I'm having on the telephone, I can hardly understand what's going on.
Don't blame the fucking accent, all right? Leave the accent alone. You had to call in 3 fucking times from 3 fucking lines, and you're blaming the accent.
You need to send your fucking landlord an IM and tell him to stop watching porn when you're working, man.
That was the number one concern, Netflix, but I'm pretty sure, dude, he's probably on Omegle right now, just jerking off.
Well, I changed the wireless password in between the first time and the second time I called in, so you shouldn't be able to get on anymore. But
well, you're the only one hearing the Skype issues too. Ian, are you hearing me clear?
Yeah, I'm hearing a bit of an echo, not on the radio, but on the phone I'm hearing a bit of one, but I can understand you.
Or so my accent isn't fucking you up or anything? Beautiful. Thank you very much. Glad to hear. I'm glad you called in, man. You should try to make it. You should try to make it in more. You're like one of our more routine listeners, other than the other JD and probably 5 other people. So we're always happy to talk to you.
Good to talk to you guys as well, man.
All right, brother.
I'm gonna hang up now and hear this story about the orgasm in front of however many people. I need to hear that shit.
Crowds make it better, man. The more eyes on you, the funner it is.
See you, gents.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
All right. We have about 20 minutes left.
You think? We got 20 minutes of this shit left? You think we can stretch this for 20 more? I mean, we got material, but do we have the means? Do we have the power?
Well, I want to get your opinion on the whole Jason Miller thing.
I hate it when TMZ breaks MMA news. I hate it when they're the fucking first place that you hear about a fighter doing something. I need to know more, whether or not it was calculated, just, had a bad night, blood test results, fucking psych evaluation. I love Mayhem. He's an atheist. He's a good guy. Everything I hear about him interacting with fans is that he's a cool person. So I'm rooting for him, but I don't know enough right now to hang him up or put him down.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I said when it first happened, I tweeted that, I was really looking forward to all the really bad jokes about this. And it was kind of sarcastic. It was completely sarcastic.
This was one of those things that everyone immediately felt bad for him, though. As soon as the Dana thing happened, they're just like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't think anything or anyone is above getting made fun of. When you get in a situation like this, it becomes imperative that you be funnier about it. Like, if you're going to make a joke about it, it's got to be good. Because from everything I can ascertain, and this is obviously speculation, but I would imagine that Jason has either got some sort of chronic mental health issue or something temporary, like what Rampage went through 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was. And, like I said, like I don't mind people poking fun at a situation like this, just like the Coney guy, but you gotta step your game up when you do something like that.
Your father is making fun of you on Twitter, which is always the best part of our telecasts here. You are now doing the show from the crawl space in your building.
Ian just asked me if I'm in a fucking underwater wind tunnel.
That was Ian, yeah. The one with the unintelligible fucking accent.
No, his accent's fine. It's not his accent. It's the accent plus the echo from Skype that I'm hearing, even though I'm on my phone.
I don't know how.
When you combine the two, it's very hard to understand.
I have the littlest back. I hear exactly what I just said right back in my headphones right after I say it. But yours doesn't make any sense because you're on a fucking phone line. I think your shit's broke, Mike.
All right, let's just wrap this up. There's two other things I want to talk about. So let's wrap it up real quick. UFC on Fox 5 looks like the best Fox card to date, yes?
If Cerrone and Pettis is on it, then absolutely.
Is that what they're talking about throwing on there?
That is the rumor right now, that they're targeting that bout for UFC on Fox 5.
Yeah, I mean, Benson Henderson, Nate Diaz, Shogun Gustafsson, Penn McDonald. If you throw Cerrone and Pettis on there, that's on paper one of the cards of the year.
It's so beautiful, and they did that the same thing when they had the pay-per-view that was the BJ Frankie rematch, and then Gray versus Kenny Florian as the co-main. You have those little lightweight tournaments with only 4 guys, but you have the 2 fights on in the same night, especially on free TV, and you can say, hey, you want to see these guys fight each other, buy the pay-per-view.
All right. Last topic. It's gotten brought up by both sides now. I haven't heard Dana comment on it. I think someone asked about it. You should smile about it. Silva, GSP. Am I a fool for even getting my hopes up even a little bit here?
No, you're a mark.
Obviously I'm a mark.
You're a mark for this fight, and Look, if it happens, then you're going to dance around and say, I told you so, and act like I fucking lost or something. I think it'd be a fun fight to watch. Especially if Silva wants to go to 170. That makes it infinitely more compelling if he can do that. But I don't think he can, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and of course this comes just by coincidence at the same time that Mayweather is starting to open up to a Pacquiao fight. So
yeah, he is. I bet he is. And Jesus is coming back next week.
I mean, if those fights happen in 2013, it might be the year of the combat sport. But Derek, we're gonna have to cut this short because I can't handle the echo anymore. I will get back to you guys on Skype right after we hang up on the show here. Well, I will talk to all of you next week, and I'll see you after I get back from Kansas City.
This was disappointing. We're going to do better next week, guys. Come to FightFansRadio.com. Check us out. If you want to sponsor us, hit any one of us up. And I'm pretty cheap, so you can probably call me first.